Jaya Jaya Navala Kishore Jaya Gopi Chit Chor Prabhu Jaya Jaya Makhan Chor Jaya Jaya Makhan Chor Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki उपस्थित Bhagvat Katha.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. I extend my heartfelt gratitude and warm welcome to all the senior Vaishnavas of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I also extend my greetings and welcome to all the devotees who have gathered here on the Zoom platform in both English and Hindi languages, and also huge number of devotees who join us both online and offline on YouTube and Facebook. I extend my special welcome and gratitude to this 310th Katha's host from New York, United States of America, Patel family, in which we have Bhavna Ben and Rasak Bhai, and also their son Ketan and daughter-in-law Priya, and also daughter Dr. Gopi, and their son-in-law Mukesh, and also their grandchildren Revya and Kiara, Arav and Ayan. So I welcome each one of you to the final day's Katha. In fact, I should say I welcome each one of you, the Gopis, to the 5th day's Katha. So please accept my humble obeisances. Hare Krishna, Radhe Shyam.
अब मैंने आपको गोपी कह दिया है.
Now when I have addressed you as Gopis, so must you keep my dignity and honor intact. Should you not bring my dignity down? In one aspect, if you look at it, the Gopis, you see, to be a Gopi is not to be by body, physical body, but by deeds and moods and sentiments, emotions and affection. The Acharyas go on to describe Gopis as Go and P. The two terms Go and P, when come together, make Gopi. So, when we talk about the term Go and P, the term Go stands for Indriya, the sense organs. So, in our Sanskrit grammar, sense organs are called as Indriya. So, if you've heard the term Goswami, Swami means the one who's the master, and Go, that is the sense organs or Indriya. So, the one who is able to master, the one who is able to command the sense organs are called as Goswami. So, Srila Prabhupada would very often used to say that we all must become Goswami. So, Goswami is not an ashram, rather, we all must strive to become the masters of our sense organs. So Go here stands for sense organs. So Go in Gopi stands for sense organs, and P means Bhivati, means the one who enjoys, the one who drinks. So what does Gopi means? By every sense organ, be it eye, nose, ear, tongue, every sense organ So by way of every sense organ, the one who enjoys, the one who drinks, the one who absorbs Sri Krishna is Gopi. So by way of the eye, the one who absorbs Sri Krishna is Gopi. By way of ears, the one who absorbs Sri Krishna is Gopi. So by way of nose as the sense organ, the one who absorbs the fragrance of Sri Krishna is Gopi. Every sense organ, an individual who absorbs and engages every sense organ in enjoying Sri Krishna is Gopi. Surrendering the lotus feet, surrendering like the lotus feet, bowing the head before the Lord. So enjoying anything that you eat by first offering to Sri Krishna. So the one, the entity who absorbs Sri Krishna by way of every sense organ is called as Gopi. And you see, we have been very, very blessed. We have been extremely fortunate because of Srila Prabhupada that he engaged us in such avenues that we all also have become almost like the gopis. Not complete gopis, but yes, to a huge extent, we have all become gopis. We're enjoying Sri Krishna by way of sense organs. So, this is what we are attempting. We are making a rather an humble attempt and sing the Gopi Geet, sung by the gopis for Sri Krishna. So we have reached the 8th verse of the Gopi Geet. So the 8th verse of Gopi Geet goes something like this, which is there on the screens before you.
हे कृष्ण, हे पुष्कर क्षण, हे वीर, कृपया करके आप हमारे सामने प्रकट हो जाइए और आप हमारे साथ जो बातें कर चुके हैं, पूर्व में आपने हमारे साथ जो चर्चा की है, हम फिर से आपकी वाणी सुनना चाहती हैं.
So the gopis are making a request before Sri Krishna. So the gopi says, "O Lotus Eye beloved, O Sri Krishna, O our hero, please come and meet us. Please embrace us. Please present yourself before us. Please appear before us and in your fascinating voice and enthralling words, illuminate our minds." So, O lotus-eyed beloved, we, your unsettled maidservants, are mystified with your melodious voice and captivating words. Even the enlightened and illuminated minds get spellbound in your fascinating voice and enthralling words and renounce every precious and material things for it. O our hero, O Sri Krishna, after savoring the ambrosia of your voice and phrases, we, your loyal gopis, have fallen in love with you. Please save our lives with the divine nectar of your lips. So in the last session, we have understood that two addresses have been made to Sri Krishna. So one is hero or brave, and the second one being the lotus-eyed beloved. So the one whose eyes are just like the lotus. So why is the lotus called Pushkar? One Acharya has given a very beautiful explanation on this in the shloka before you at the bottom of your screens. Oh Krishna,
कमल है
this lotus,
सूर्य की किरणों से कमल पोषित होता है.
so it is by way of the sunlight that the lotus gets its nutrition.
पोष्यति, ये श्लोक हम सुनते हैं ना. कमल पानी में होता है, उसकी जड़ पानी में होती है, लेकिन
So we have heard about this, that even though the roots of lotus is under the waters, but it gets its nutrition from the sun.
पोषित होता है.
So it gets energy inhaled by way of sunlight. So the Gopis are attempting to say that just as the lotus gets its nutrition from the sunlight, in the similar fashion, in the similar manner, by way of your eyes, you also give us the nutrition. So the Gopis are looking forward for nutrition, having a sight at you. So you see, this is a very highly placed mood.
पहले ये सुन लीजिए, कृष्ण की आंखें पुष्टि देने वाली है.
So the eyes of Sri Krishna
हमें पुष्ट करती है.
goes on to complete us.
भगवान अपनी दृष्टि से,
So one thing that you must remember is merely by a glance of Sri Krishna,
जिसको देखते
a mere glance of Sri Krishna at any of the devotees, then the person, the individual
कमल की
who's looked at, he takes
कमल
the love
जैसे
and
नेत्रों वाले
satisfaction in the
कृष्ण
heart.
की आंखों से जिस पर देखते हैं,
So whosoever is looked at by Sri Krishna, that person's heart goes on to be filled with the love and affection. So there are four things, four elements in Sri Krishna's eyes.
चलो आगे.
So what we ideally do, we go to the temple, visit the temple, and hail to the Lord and come back. But there are four things, four elements in Sri Krishna's beautiful lotus eye. The one is elixir, which is nectar,
कृष्ण,
and
क्योंकि
the
ये
second one
भगवान
is poison. So
कृष्ण
mutually
की
contradictory element, poison as well as elixir.
उनकी आंखों में मद है.
His eyes are also filled with madh, which is pride, and also intoxication.
कृष्ण इन चारों के द्वारा,
So there is a shloka related to this, that by way of poison, elixir, pride,
चितवन एक बार.
and also
कृष्ण की आंखों में चार चीज है. कृष्ण की आंखों में ये जो
so the four things in the eyes of Sri Krishna.
आंख में सफेद रंग होता है ना,
So the white part of the eye,
आंखों में जो सफेद रंग है,
so the white portion of Sri Krishna's eye is elixir, which is nectar.
होता है ना,
So
मोतिया,
the retina or the black portion of the eye, the eyeball is poison.
वो विष है, वो विष का.
So the black part is the poison.
कृष्ण की आंखें लाल होती है.
And you see the eyes of Sri Krishna is red.
आंखों की वो लालिमा,
So the redness of Sri Krishna's eye act and represent pride and intoxication.
यही चित्त
And that is the reason it is said that
साधक के ऊपर, जिस भक्त के ऊपर कृष्ण की एक चितवन चली
so one glance of Sri Krishna's eye, or one sight of Sri Krishna upon a devotee, even if for one Sri Krishna looks that towards his devotee, there are four things, or four elements that the devotee shall always develop. So one is that he goes on to live,
में अमृत भरा है.
because Sri Krishna's eyes is full of elixir. So the individual goes on to live. So because his eyes has elixir, so this person goes on to live. So he develops life. Even a dead entity becomes lifeful. The other one is, the other element is that
इनकी आंखों में अमृत है, वो अमृत
the eye, the sight also has the power to die. Why? Because there is poison.
भरा है कृष्ण
And the pride and intoxication of Sri Krishna's eye
में झुक झुक कर गिरा देता है. परत माने गिरा देता है.
represents what? That the pride and intoxication would push the entity further and further down and for extermination. And hence, the gopis say, "O Shri Krishna, just as the sun offers nutrition and life to the lotus, so may you please also give us life through your eyes." Now, I'm going to talk about something very secret to you. So, should you not disclose it to anyone? Earlier, I had thought that I would share it with you when I would meet you face to face. But then I do not know when shall I get to see you. So, the thing is, when you sit to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so some devotees ask that we do not feel concentrated, we fall asleep, or that we start feeling hungry. So basically, you're not able to focus upon. So the secret is that when we sit to chant and that we're not able to concentrate,
कृष्ण की
then
आंखों
at that point of time,
आपका सारा
must
काम
you look at, must you focus at the eyes of Sri Krishna. Jyati manat jukhi jukhi parat jehi chitavat ikbar. So you see, we all are servants to Sri Krishna and we must develop the exercise to look at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. But then whenever you do not get to develop concentration, you must look directly into the eyes of Sri Krishna. Then you see, once you develop an eye-to-eye contact with Sri Krishna, you will realize that Sri Krishna would blink for sure. And secondly, you would be able to see that youthfulness in Sri Krishna. You would also be able to observe the movement of the eyeball of Sri Krishna. And I say it from my heart, from the core of my heart, you shall realize that you will develop the feeling that Sri Krishna is developing the call, or Sri Krishna is giving you a call from his heart to call towards you. And then upon such a moment, for sure you shall develop the concentration to chant. And you see, why do we understand and accept all this? Because the gopis say that Sri Krishna's eyes are just like lotus. You know, the lotus which serves the nutrition to the gopis. So, if I was to add some more meaning to this verse, then, "Oh Shri Krishna, how is your voice?" So, one of the acharyas gave a practical meaning to this. So one of the acharyas go on to develop the meaning that your voice, your utterance is that you have a lot of meanings in your utterances. Your voice is very fascinating and enthralling words. And because of your enthralling words and fascinating voice, those people go on to renounce every precious and material thing for it. So basically, even the enlightened and illuminated minds get spellbound in your fascinating voice and enthralling words and renounce every precious and material things for it. In the second chapter, 42nd sloka of Bhagvat Gita, Sri Krishna goes on to say in this shloka,
विपश्चितः वेदवादरता पार्थ नान्यद अस्तितिवादिना नान्यद अस्तिनिवादिनः.
the shloka is there at the bottom of your screens. Oh Shri Krishna. So Shri Krishna is now addressing Arjun. Oh Parth, oh Arjun. So Shri Krishna tells to Arjun O Arjun,
कुछ ऐसी बातें रखी है
I have kept
जो सुनने
some
में
things
बड़ी
in
मधुर
Vedas
लगती है
which might appear very appealing
और
and
उन
wonderful
बातों को सुनकर
to listen at and to read at. And
कर्मकांड
listening
में
and
संसार के
reading such
व्यवहार
things,
प्रवृत्त होते हैं
the living entity goes on to engage
इस
himself
स्पिरिट
in
में
the
बड़ी
material
सुंदर
things.
बातें शास्त्रों में लिखी हैं
So such beautiful things are written in
गधे बैल की तरह
the
मेहनत करके क्या
Shastras.
करोगे थोड़ा सा यज्ञ कर लो आपको स्वर्ग मिल जाएगा
So there are things, interesting things like that. There is no point toiling hard. If some yagnas are done, then those people will attain heaven.
लेकिन एक घंटा यज्ञ कर लो हजारों साल तेतम भूतवा
So
स्वर्ग
if you go on to perform yagna for 1 hour,
कृष्ण
then
स्वयं कहते हैं
you would go on to get heavens for huge times.
इसलिए
So
आचार्य बड़े
such captivating
मधुर
and promotional things are mentioned,
माने कैसा मधुवत
are mentioned by me in the Vedas.
प्रलोभनम भगवान श्री कृष्ण की वाणी कैसी है मधुवत मतलब हनी के समान शहद के समान स्वर्ग इत्यादि फल को देकर प्रलोभन देने वाली वाणी है दुनिया के लोगों को प्रलोभित करती हैं और वल्गुनी मनोहराणी
Such utterances and definitions go on to attract people.
स्वर्गादि फलों के प्रति
And such utterances go on to attract towards
आकर्षित हो जाते हैं गोपियां कहती है बुध
heavens. And ordinary people do get attracted.
पंडित बड़े बड़े ज्ञानी लोग भी
And the gopis say, even the people with great intellect, enlightened and illuminated minds, gets spellbound in fascinating words and enthralling words and go on to engage in karma kand.
क्या होता है लौकिक पारलौकिक व्यवहार में ऐसे दक्ष लोग संसार की विषय वासना से मुक्त हो जाते हैं संसार के लोगों की धन संपत्ति पुत्र पत्नी परिवार आदि की आसक्ति से
because of such things, you see, physical entity goes on to detach himself from the worldly things. But the gopis go on to mention that, O Shri Krishna, because of your fascinating voice and spellbound words, they do get detached with the material things, but still they are not able to attain the eternal fruit we desire, we look forward to, and we are desirous of. So, by performing karma kand, we don't want to attain that. We are detached from the material thing. This is not enough. So some people say that they are vairagis. So considering that, if you see that the trees are great yogis, they don't even wear the clothes. The birds and animals are also vairagis. So merely abandoning home would not lead to attainment of Lord. So Gyan Kand Karma is attained certainly by the fascinating voice and amazing words of Sri Krishna. But what is the ultimate eternal objective that must be looked at and attained? So the gopis go on to say that the highest and the highly placed thing or fruit is the divine nectar of your lips. So, engaging in the realization of the Lord is the highest level that must be looked at to be attained. Now, the Acharyas go on to illustrate it with the example that just like a cruise ship, so full of splendor, So there are numerous
लेकिन कितनी भी अच्छी नौका
facilities as well. But come what may, the good be, cruise be,
नदी को पार करने के
that
लिए
cruise
ही
can
बनाई
only be used in
जैसे
waters.
बहुत अच्छी नौका हो तो क्या हम ऐसा सोचते हैं बस जीवन इसी
Is
में
it
गुजारेंगे
possible that
नहीं
if the
फिर
cruise is really
परेशान हो जाएंगे तो कितनी भी अच्छी
offering wonderful facilities that you decide that you can
पर
spend your
पहुंचने
life on it, whatever may be the degree of facilities in the cruise, its objective is to get onto the other bank.
ये सब नौका
So
है
all these karma kand, gyan kand, etc. are just like the boat.
लेकिन नौका के समान है कर्म कांड ज्ञान कांड ध्यान कांड
So karma kand, gyan kand, upasana kand are just like that boat, just like cruise. To stay in that should not be the objective. Rather,
से हमें नदी को पार करना है
we must cross the river with the help of this cruise and must cross the river. And what is that destination, ultimate destination?
हमारा गंतव्य
The realization with the God, attaining the Lord. That must be our
ये कहना चाहते
objective and destination.
वेदों में आपने बड़े मधुर शब्द ये सब
So the gopis go on to say that you've spoken very enthralling words in the Vedas, but people have been tied to karma. But O Shri Krishna, the gopis are making a request, O our hero, after severing the ambrosia of your voice and phrases, we, your loyal gopis, have fallen in love with you. Please save our lives with the divine nectar of your lips. So they have gone on to say that Bhagavad Sakshatkar and Bhagavad Gyan is our ultimate objective and destination. So those who are engaged in karma kand, it's not wrong, at least they're doing something. But this is not the ultimate destination, the final destination. The only objective must only be to attain Sri Krishna. And when we have already reached the bank, on the bank of Sri Krishna's devotion, affection, and love, then why should we wasting our time, spending our time on the boats?
टाइम वेस्ट करेगा ये तो वैसे ही हुआ कि आप बहुत पढ़ लिख कर यूनिवर्सिटी में आ गए और फिर आप कहने लगे नहीं मुझे अभी नर्सरी में पढ़ने
It is as good as saying that you have already crossed the universities and that you go back to qualify standard one. So once you have reached the banks of Sri Krishna's devotion, you see, you should not be going back in the cruise again, rather move forward to Sri Krishna's love and affection.
बड़ा आदमी रोता है तो भी अच्छा नहीं लगता तो कहने का अर्थ ये है कि जब भगवान ने हमें
So the point that I'm trying to get across is when Lord has given us such wonderful consciousness, wonderful Vaishnavite association, then we must move forward progressively from that standard towards the ultimate destination. So many a times it so happened that when people question that if this is not the ultimate destination, then why at all Vedas mention this at all? So try to understand the Vedas are meant for everyone. They're complete in themselves. So Shastras and Vedas go on to present things for every level and category of things. And the only principle of Shastras and Vedas is that whatever level an individual is placed in, this Vedas strive forward to provide help to the person, to the entity to move further to the next standard. So the point that I'm trying to get across to you is when you have reached to this level of Vaishnavite dedication and devotion, you must attempt to move forward. So you see, so if you do not move forward, rather you move backward, then you see, it makes no point. The retrograde move makes no sense. We must always attempt to move forward in devotional life, which is moving closer towards Krishna consciousness realizing Sri Krishna, attempting to attain Lord Krishna. So the gopis go on to say that, "O Sri Krishna, kindly fill our ears with your fascinating voice." So the melodious voice of Sri Krishna is also visible in Mahabharat, in Bhagvat Gita, which the gopis are so desirous of hearing. So in the ninth chapter, 32nd shloka, 9.32, Lord Krishna goes on to say in the form of the shloka at the bottom of your screens. So the shloka goes something like this. O Parth, O Arjun, if an individual, come what may, be he lawborn, even if he is a female, a woman, Shudra or a Vaishya, if he surrenders to my faith, if he takes refuge in me, he goes on to attain ultimate liberation. He goes on to attain me, O Arjun, O Par. Otherwise, you see, there are mutual jealousies, rivalries, conspiracies against one another. But all glories to Sri Krishna, that Sri Krishna's nectar voice, beautiful voice, he goes on to infuse life into the devotees. Towards the close of Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna goes on to say something like this, which is there at the bottom of your screens. So Sri Krishna declares with a lot of love, affection. What did he say? Sri Krishna declares, Sri Krishna says, just as a master says to the servant, a father says to the son, a husband says to his wife, "Oh dear, don't you worry about." Similarly, Sri Krishna goes on to say, so this kind of love and affection of Sri Krishna is also visible in Bhagavad Gita. Through such sentences, listening to such utterances, all material mellows, splendor and comforts, without making any effort, an entity is able to develop detachment. When an entity listens to such affectionate words of Sri Krishna, he develops detachment from the material things. So one other acharyas went on to say, Madhurya Gira Balgu Vakyaya. So by this, the gopis basically are complaining that, "Oh Shri Krishna, your voice destroys everything in us." They will go on to destroy everything in the material world. So, in a way, the gopis are wanting to talk against Sri Krishna, but even in that attempt, they are presenting appreciation towards Lord Sri Krishna. So, in one of the slokas of Shrimad Bhagavatam, which is there on the bottom of your screens, it is said that
सपदि गृह कुटुंबम दीन मृत सृज्य दीना बहव इह विहंगा भिक्षुचर्या चरन्ति। हे कृष्ण,
Oh Shri Krishna, your glories, your pastimes,
एटलीस्ट जो जूम पर बैठे मेरे सामने, यहाँ यहाँ यहाँ, यत अनुचरित, हे कृष्ण, यदि कोई
O
व्यक्ति,
Shri Krishna, if an individual
श्लोक देखिएगा बहुत सुंदर है,
listens to your glories, your pastimes,
वाणी तो बर्बाद करके रख दी है,
your voice captivates everyone and destroys everyone. But in a way, this is appreciation of Sri Lord Krishna.
आपकी लीला, आपकी कथा कर्ण कान के माध्यम से, आपकी कथा कर्णामृत हमारे कान से प्रवेश करती है, सकृद।
So your stories, your pastimes enters us through our ears.
लेता है तो विद्युत दंड धर्मा विनष्टा। एक तो सबसे
So if anyone listens to your katha even once, first of all, his dharma gets diluted. Means whatever responsibilities are upon him, you see, he gets so disturbed and that he loses track of everything. I am confident, you see, this might be happening at your houses also, that this person only listens to katha and katha alone. So in a way, this is speaking against Sri Krishna in one sense, but in real sense of the term, this is his glorification alone. So if any house, any degree of katha or narration of yours enters into the ears of an individual, then for him, his social responsibility and accountability
सब कुछ ढीला पड़
gets
जाएगा,
diluted.
कमिटमेंट जो है ना ढीले पड़ जाएंगे। कृष्ण आपकी कथा परेशान कर देती है। और क्या होता है, बोले सपदी गृह कुटुंबम,
So
और
what further happens?
यहाँ पर भी लगेगा, और आदमी अपने गृह और कुटुंब को भी विनष्ट कर देता है।
And the individual goes on to even lose
रुचि अपने घर में नहीं रहती है,
the home and the family. Because if your katha enters an individual, he develops detachment
कथा सुना
towards the worldly thing.
विनष्टा, उसका घर कुटुंब सब विनष्ट हो जाता है।
So the day he listens to your katha,
राह देखते रहते हैं,
you see, he even loses interest in his family. So for example, Zoom, Parivar,
देखते हैं कब घर पर आएगा। तो ये घर
your
कुटुंब
Zoom Parivar devotees, even they become obsessed to the katha, and the family is looking forward for him to come back.
दूसरी लाइन में आ जाइए, दिनम उत्सृज्य दिना बहव इहो विहंगा, और इतना ही नहीं, विहंग,
And not just this, we're coming over to the second line now, even the birds.
भटका देती हैं, फिर वो दर दर भटकने
So
लगता है।
you see,
हरिद्वार, कभी
your katha
कभी मायापुर, विहंग इव
goes on
की तरह भटकने लगता है।
to add movement to an individual, an entity, and now he keeps roaming from one place to another. Like sometimes he's in Haridwar, sometimes in Vrindavan, sometimes in
विनष्ट कर देती हैं,
Kailash.
कर देती
So what is being attempted to say that your katha, your narration, your pastimes goes on to confuse an individual, detaches him from his family life. Just like birds move from place to place, he loses interest in the family, and ultimately your katha, your narration goes on to make an individual just like a beggar, like a beggar looks forward for some favors here and there. Similarly, your devotee goes on to look forward for your katha at one place to the other, further to the other. So in a way, it is like a criticism towards Sri Krishna, but at the same time, in another sense, this is glorification of Sri Krishna itself. So the katha of Sri Krishna goes on to give you the freedom from worldly bonds and entanglements. And you see what happens because of Krishna Katha being heard by you. It takes you to the next level of consciousness. And hence, in this manner, the gopis go on to address Sri Krishna that your glories, your pastimes, goes on to render the gopis like a beggar moving from one place to another. And not just this, listening to glorification, katha, and narration. So you see, katha also means conversation and dialogue. So katha or narration also means discussion. Even your discussion, the discussion of the holy name also has such effect. So what is the impact and effect of such things of Sri Krishna upon gopis? What is the effect and influence of conversation of Sri Krishna upon the gopis? So it is said in the second line. So the gopis go on to say, "O Sri Krishna, your words, your voice have led us, have directed us to have fallen in love with you." The gopis go on to say that we have been fascinated by you, we are losing our consciousness. So the commentators say, when there is attraction, when there is a situation of being spellbound, so there is only half the connection between soul and super soul. So the gopis are attempting to say, "Oh Shri Krishna, we are at the final stages of the death. Oh Shri Krishna, we are almost at the last stage of our life. Our death is approaching near. Please be merciful and be before us. Please save our lives with the divine nectar of your lips." So it is like, in case the Sri Krishna goes on to appear before Sri Krishna, then Sri Krishna would ask, "If I have to commit, then what do I do by appearing before you?" So Sri Krishna gets the answer from the gopis. Oh Shri Krishna, now says gopis are saying to Shri Krishna that what should he be doing? So in Ayurveda it is written, so just in case if an individual loses consciousness because of a particular thing, he gains back his consciousness because of that particular thing. For example, if a person just chain smoker and the doctor advises him not to smoke at all, so imagine somebody who's a chain smoker, and if he's not given any cigarettes to smoke, then all of a sudden, if you stop it, he would go unconscious and lose consciousness. So Ayurveda goes on to say that if you see the person is obsessed and attached to, dependent to a particular kind of intoxication, and he would lose consciousness, then Ayurveda says, the principle of Ayurveda says that the same cigarette will bring back his consciousness. So in this shloka, if Sri Krishna would say that you're almost reaching unconsciousness stage and that the stage of death, then what do I do? So the gopis answer, so gopis go on to answer that the reason behind our getting into the state of unconsciousness and death, so, oh Shri Krishna, it is because of you, so must you come and serve us the divine nectar of your lips.
दूसरी लाइन के अंत में हम देखते हैं अधर सिधु अधर सुधा। भक्तों दो दो शब्द है, एक है धरामृत, दूसरा है अधरामृत।
There are two terms,
थोड़ा सा समझ में आएगा,
Adharamrit and Dharamrit.
ठीक से नहीं आएगा, लेकिन उसको और थोड़ा सा अलग कर दिया जाए, एक है धरामृत और दूसरा है अधरामृत।
So one is Dharamrit, the other one is Adhamrit.
धरा माने धरती,
So Dhara means earth.
अमृत,
So one is elixir of the earth,
अधरामृत
and next is Adharamrit, which doesn't belong to land or earth,
भगवान से।
but which has come from above,
तो भगवत
which means the elixir of the Lord. So the form of the Lord is
कृष्ण कृपया करके
elixir itself. So, O Shri Krishna, please be present before us.
गोपिया भगवान श्री कृष्ण के
So here,
वाणी
basically, Gopi wants to listen to the utterances of Shri Krishna.
से निकले हुए अमृत का आस्वादन करना चाहती है।
So the Gopis wants to enjoy that.
बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर
Now, Bilva Manga Thakur ji
अमृत में
in Krishna Karnamrit also go on to present the shloka. So the shloka is in the form of the request of Radha Rani.
तो गोपी की अधूरा ही माना जाएगा।
So you see, Gopi Gita is incomplete
ठाकुर ने दिव्य
if there's no Karnamrit.
इस कृष्ण कर्णामृत में
So in this Krishna Karnamrit,
से कहती हैं
Srimati Radha Rani addresses Shri Krishna, goes on to address Shri Krishna by saying,
चितामृत रसा निपदार्थ भंगी वलगो निवलगित विशा लविलोचनानि बाल्यादिकानि मदमल लव भाविनी भी भावे लुठन्ति सुकृतां तव जल्पितानि। बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर ये
so
श्लोक
Bilva Mangal Thakur is presenting this shloka, and in this shloka, Bilva Mangal Thakur goes on to quote Gopi Geet.
बहुत अद्भुत
So this is very amazing and very beautiful.
के लिए थोड़ा सा समझ
You see, in order to understand the 8th shloka of
कृष्ण
Gopi Geet, let us first understand this.
के समूह मतलब आपका वचन आप
So the Gopi
कैसी
is
है
going to say, Oh Shri Krishna, your utterances, your voice.
परियाची माने आपकी परियाची माने सिंचित, आपकी वाणी कैसी है
So your voice
माने सिंचन की हुई किससे
is fed with the elixir. Oh Shri Krishna
चितामृत रसानी अमृत रस से सिंचित है, आपके
is fed by elixir. Every word of yours is filled with elixir.
और फिर वल्गु वाक्य या एक तो आपकी वाणी में अमृत भरा है,
On one hand, your voice, your words are full of elixir, and secondly, also
पद अर्थ और भाव भंगिमा है, तीन
in your words, in your voice,
भंगी
Pad, Earth, and Bhangi, all the three are mentioned. There's beautiful Pad, there is very beautiful Earth, and also presentation.
रसानी पदार्थ भंगी अमृत रथ से सिंचित और
So,
पद अर्थ
fed by
सुंदर वाणी
elixir and Pad, Earth, and Bhav Bhangi.
वही वल्गु वाक्य या हमने भी सुना गोपी गीत। और ये तो आपकी वाणी हुई, फिर आपके नेत्र कैसे हैं तो वलगीत विशाल
Then, how is your eyes?
वलगीत माने
So the gopis go on to say,
कृष्ण के नेत्र चंचल हैं, वो
your eyes are very naughty, they keep moving, and they're very, very big as well.
यहाँ पर आ रहा है कि वलगुनी वलगीत विशाल विलोचनानी व बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर है ये कवि है।
So, you see, Bilva Manga Thakur goes on to say,
मनोहर सुंदर चंचल
beautiful, spectacular, captivating are your eyes. And further in the second line, Bilvamanga Thakur says,
अवस्था के चापल्य से मदवल्लभ गोपियों के साथ आपका जलपन हो रहा है, मतलब आपका गोपियों के साथ,
and because of your teenage, you are in discussions with the gopis. So you see, Bilvamangal Thakur is making an attempt to recall the pastimes of Sri Krishna with Radha. Sometimes Sri Krishna used to go to all the gopis from moving from Vrindavan to Mathura that you must pay the tax, to which Sri Krishna would say that bridge belongs to my ownership. And Sri Krishna used to break the pots filled with butter and milk and ghee. So all the gopis who got hold of Sri Krishna once, where Sri Krishna asked for apologies to the gopis, you might have heard of Kusum Sarovar. So Radharani used to pluck the flowers of Kusum every day. Sri Krishna caught hold of her once, that, oh, you thief, you take away the flower every day. To which Radharani said, who are you to stop me from doing this? Sri Krishna says, I am the owner of this area and must you undergo punishment. So Radharani and Sri Krishna goes on to argue lovingly.
कृष्ण की सखिया राधा रानी और गोपियां कृष्ण के साथ चर्चा करती थी। राधा और कृष्ण की ये चर्चा ध्यान से सुनिए।
The conversation between Sri Radha Rani and Sri Krishna,
जो बड़े बड़े भाग्यशाली सुकृतिशाली जीव हैं, वे लोग रात दिन राधा और कृष्ण का ये जलपन, कृष्ण राधा और गोपी सखियों का ये चर्चा रात दिन अपने मन में स्मरण करते रहते हैं।
So such conversation between Sri Krishna and Radha is remembered and recalled and enjoyed by, you see, elevated, highly exalted devotees. So those who are pure devotees of the Lord, those who are the fortunate souls, so they continue to live in the same mood of conversation between Sri Krishna and Radha. And the unfortunate souls, the unfortunate entities, spend their time in and out in the discussion of material things. This is nothing but lack of being fortunate. So worldly things, worldly discussions in our mind and heart is an indication of big misfortune. And then what is being fortunate? So the fortunate souls are the ones who always stay in the mood where Sri Krishna and Radha's discussion takes place. So such pure devotees go on to spend their lives in such a mood. So we must mold and manage our lives in such a way that when we are in stunted isolation and silence, so whenever we get time, we must try to remember and discuss the discussions and meetings of Sri Krishna and Radharani. This is nothing but an indication of being fortunate, because those who are unfortunate shall always remain entangled and engaged in discussions of the material things. And just in case this is not happening to you, and try to understand the principle. So in order to cultivate this mood and sentiment,
है उस भक्त के आश्रय में भक्ति करनी
So
पड़े।
you must take refuge and support and association of such a devotee who
ले चुके हैं ऐसे शुद्ध
stays in Gopi Bhav.
छोड़कर यदि कोई चाहे कि हम भावे लुठंती, ये तो ये कभी हो नहीं सकता है।
So if an unfortunate soul thinks that he would be able to develop such a devotion without association of devotees, without engaging in such pastimes of the Lord, then it is impossible. So Bilva Mangal Thakur says, only when we engage ourselves with the association of such Gopi Bhav devotees that we can enter into the mood of Gopi.
वीर मुह्यति अधर सिधुना प्याय यस्वना, ये इस बात पर बिल्वा मंगल ठाकुर यहां पर कह रहे हैं। तो भक्तों यहां पर लिखा है भावे लुठंती।
So, dear devotees, this term bhave lutanti is a very important term. That what is the achievement of we as devotees? The achievement is the discussion, the pastimes of Sri Radha and Krishna is the mood and sentiment that we must always look at and attain. So this mood, if it can enter in our lives, is an indication of devotion. Sometimes it so happens that some people are not in the mood and sentiment of Gopi, but that they adorn the gowns of Gopis and call themselves as Sakhis. In our tradition, none of the Acharyas have illustrated this, have never endorsed this. They have never talked about such thing. They've only talked about Gopi sentiment, Gopi bhav. So if he is a male, must he remain in male clothes?
की जरूरत है। भावे लुठंती सुकृताम।
So what is important is bhave lutanti sukrutam tab jalpitani. So if you want to become fortunate, then must you remain in the mood and sentiment of gopis. See, our Guru Maharaj was very, he used to get very irritated with this kind of, you see, those males, get into adorning the gopi dress despite of being a male. None of the acharyas accepted this. Acharyas have given significance to mental discussion and mental realization. Dear devotees, our principles, our ideals on this prema marg, on bhakti marg. Who are our idols? As Shad Goswamis, Rup Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Goswami. Had been the gopis. And in the age of Kali Yuga, they came as Shad Goswami, and these are our ideals to us. And when these gopis and friends of Radharani came as Shad Goswamis, what did they do? So what these acharyas did? This is there in the form of shloka before you.
भूतवादीन गणेश को करुणया कोपीन कंथाश्रितो और गोपी भाव रसामृताब्धि लहरी कल्लोलमग्नो मुहुः वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपाल को। हम जिस परंपरा में हैं, इस गंगा के समान पवित्र ये ब्रह्म मध्व गौड़ीय धारा, इस गौड़ीय धारा में हमारे आचार्य
Our Gaudiya Parampara, our Gaudiya tradition, it was not that our Acharyas had become beggars because they could not do anything else. They could not succeed in any enterprise. No, it wasn't the case. Our Acharyas, our Shad Goswamis were not like that. Our Acharyas, Rup Goswami, Raghunath Goswami, they had all. They used to be the kings of immense lands. They used to be the princes and kings.
लेकिन तुच्छवत इन राज्य को, इन राज रजवाड़े को त्यक्तवा,
but they abandoned, they gave up, they renounced all the kingdoms and lands and went on to adorn the dawns of the clothes of the recluse, of being a saint. They did not become Gopi Paltan or Gopi herd, but day in and day out, all our acharyas used to remain in the mood and sentiment of Gopi Bhav, who all Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghu Yugo Shri Jeev Gopalako. And the mood and sentiment of Gopi Bhav, this should
साधन भक्ति में परफेक्ट होंगे
so
तब
you
रागा
see, there would be development of Gopi Bhav, Gopi sentiment. This is all about Prema Bhakti. So first we must engage in sadhan bhakti. So sadhan bhakti is all about, you see, Gopi bhav from within, but from the outwardly expression and exhibition.
नति भी कालावसानी कृतो निद्राहार विहार कादि विजितो चात्यंत दीनो चयो राधा कृष्ण स्मृते मधुर मधुरिमा नंदेन सम्मोहितो वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुयुगो श्री जीव गोपालको। रात दिन अपने अशेष मंडल राज को छोड़कर कोपिन कंथा,
So day in and day out, these Shad Goswamis abandoning all the worldly comforts, cultivating and developing Gopi Bhav in the heart, but from outward manifestation, what should be the sentiment? We must chant the holy name countwise. So Sankhya Purvak Naam is chanting the holy name of the Lord by count. And you see, we have not reached that level. We need to develop that level. We have to cultivate that level. So we must chant the holy name of the Lord on the rosary. Sometimes some people look down upon such people who carry the rosary and the beads.
पैसानी नोटो આપે છે તો આમ થૂકવાળી કરીને 1 2 उसमें तो बहुत गिनते हो आप डॉलर गिनते हो रुपये पैसे गिनते हो क्यों क्योंकि आप उसे वैल्यू देते हो
So you see, people make an allegation and criticize that why do you need to count? Can't you chant the holy name in the heart? So you see, many people go on to count all the dollars, rupees, pounds. And why do you count? Because you attach importance to dollars and money. So similarly, the devotee shall attach importance to the holy name of the Lord. So I make a request to each one of you that must you chant the holy name of the Lord on the rosary and count. So along with the holy name of the Lord, must you offer obeisances to the Lord, must dance to the name of the Lord, must chant and engage in Sankirtanam, offer pranam to the Lord. Oh dear devotees, my Australia is getting ready for somewhere around December and January. You see, we would be having the Katha of 6 Goswami for 6 days. But if I can recall immediately, we will talk about Shad Goswamis in details. But if I can recall, you see, Gopi Bhav from within and Sadhan Bhakti from outside. Raghunath Goswami every day used to offer pranam to the Lord 1,000 times each day. And every day he used to offer pranam to 200 Vaishnavas. He used to offer Ashtanga pranam by chanting mantra and glorifying their qualities. And that is the reason in Chaitanya Charitamrut, Kaviraj Goswami then stopped and he said, innumerable, infinite qualities are there for Raghunath Goswami. What else do I write? What do I write? So the discipline of Raghunath is just like a writing on the wall. Not like you and me, that it's very cold today. We cannot go for Mangla,
आचार्य
Aarti, etc.
आचार्यों की परंपरा में हम लोग हैं और इस आचार्य की कृपा से आज हम सब साथ में बैठकर ये सब कथा सुन रहे
See,
हैं
it is the blessing of these acharyas that we all are sitting together and listening to this katha. And hence, the point that I'm trying to get across is the fortunate souls, the fortunate entities go on to enjoy and imbibe themselves in Gopi Bhav from within and from outside. They engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord and makes their life meaningful.
इस प्रकार से गोपियों
And
ने
hence, in this manner, the gopis went on to offer prayer to Sri Krishna, and then Sri Krishna went on to appear in the hearts of Sri Krishna and said, "O gopis, that you gopis say that you're losing consciousness, that we are about to die. Oh, our hero, we're getting attracted to you." So Sri Krishna, imagining if was to say, if Sri Krishna would say, "You're not dying. How come you're dying? And you claim that you love me, but I don't feel it that way." So if Sri Krishna was to say that you love me, and that I cannot see your love, I cannot locate and find it. How? Listen to one of the story. Once upon a time, there was a king who went on to imprison 7 people in his prison. So this is the instance of the British time. So the king went on to imprison certain people, and the king would summon these 7 people every day, and he would make his officers stand with the whip. And again, every day, 7 punishments were given to these 7 people, and then the king would ask if they develop their love towards the king, and the answer would be no, then again they would be whipped at. Now you see, do you think this is a justified way of getting the love developed? You cannot get the love developed by way of force. You should not be controlling. See, you see, some people attempt to do that. For example, if the king was attempting to get the love and affection by way of whipping those people, if you look forward for love, you see, must you offer love in order to beget love? So you get love only when you offer love. So whatever shall you invest, shall you get return. So if you would add sweetness or sweet, you'll get sweetness. So if you would offer love and affection, you would get in return love and affection. So assuming that if Sri Krishna was to say to the gopis that if you love me, then you should offer love to me. But only when you would offer your love to me that you would get love. But since the beginning of the Gopi Geet, you're only rebuking me and highlighting my problems. So how do I believe? How can I take that you're loving me, that you love me? Now, the gopis really had love and affection. So, the gopis' love was pure and serene. But Sri Krishna says that because you're rebuking me, that means you do not love me. And you see, the nature of love is such that if there is no lover, then in the mode of missing that lover, the other lover would leave his life. You see, the animals in the water, so the animal which is the aquatic animals, you see, a crocodile lives in water, he doesn't love water. The tortoise lives in water, but he doesn't love water. But the fish does have love for water, because crocodile can stay without water, tortoise can stay without water, because the moment you take the fish out of water, and if you distance it from water, it shall die. And that's the reason that the reason is that fish would die, because it loves water. So Shri Krishna is now questioning to the gopis that, oh gopis, you claim that you love me, but the fact is, if you love me, you would have died without me, but you're still alive. So the gopis answer, oh Shri Krishna, you would have died long time back, but the fact that we are still alive, it is because of the fact that we have been listening to your katha. It is your katha and glory and pastimes which has still kept us alive.
Bhiriditam kalmashapaham श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदाततं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जना भुवि गृह्णन्ति ते भूरिदा जना। हे कृष्ण, कृष्ण आपके
Oh
विरह में
Krishna,
आपकी कथा हमें जिला रही है।
because we have been missing you. You see, we were kept alive by your divine pastimes.
जाने वाली गोपियों को अमृत प्रदान
We have been suffering the pain of separation and sorrows from you.
आपकी कथा
But your divine pastime was adequate enough to keep us alive.
वैसे इस
The narration of your stories
4 दिन चाहिए,
have let us stay alive.
कथा ही कर देंगे। इस एक श्लोक
So,
के ऊपर बहुत बड़ा श्लोक है ये।
you see, I can talk about this sloka for 7 days.
राजा प्रताप रुद्र को गले मिले थे।
It was with this shloka that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced
मेरे लिए
Raja Pratap Rudradev.
लेकिन राजा प्रताप रुद्र ने जब यह श्लोक गाया, महाप्रभु दौड़ कर
But
आए
as Raja Pratap Rudradev sung this shloka, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ran to embrace him.
दो शब्द आपके बीच में थोड़ा सेलिब्रेट करूं।
I want to elaborate 2-3 words in the
अमृतम
shloka.
कृष्ण आपकी
The gopis say Tav Kathamritam
और तप्त जीवनम
and Tapt Jivanam. So the gopis say that, O Lord, the nectar and ambrosia of your divine pastimes is adequate enough to enlighten the world of those who are suffering with the pains of separation and sorrows in this material world.
वास्तविक दुख क्या है?
If I was to ask you a question,
कारण क्या है?
what is the real reason behind the sorrows in this world?
का कारण है कृष्ण से
So,
दूर हो जाना। That's all.
the real reason of sorrows in this material world is
दूर होगा वो व्यक्ति उतना
the distance from Sri Krishna, being distanced from Sri Krishna. The more the distance between an entity and Sri Krishna, the more the sorrow.
जितना दूर उतना
The fundamental principle that you must understand is more the distance between you and Sri Krishna, the more the sorrow. The lesser the distance between you and Sri Krishna, the lesser the sorrows. So you see, we have all understood that who is Krishna? Sad Chid Anand. Who is Krishna?
आनंद की मूर्ति है। उस
Who is the epitome of pleasure?
स्वाभाविक है, सीधी
So, more the distance between you and that happiness, more the sorrows in your life. So, the more the distance between you and Krishna, the more the sorrows in your life.
धन्य है।
For example, you see, the culture of India is really very, very great, incredible. You see, ever since a childhood, we have been told and taught these principles. You know, these principles need to be applied at a right place.
जैसे मछली का वास्तविक दुख क्या है?
So what is the real sorrow of
वास्तविक दुख
the fish?
से दूर हो जाना। That's all.
The real sorrow of fish is
मछली जितना
distance
से दूर होगी,
of the fish from the water. The more the distance between fish and water, the more the sorrow for the fish.
मछली को झूले पर झुलाया, चलो झूले पर झुलाएंगे।
So now, in case somebody was to offer that we will distance the fish from the water, make it go around a wonderful swing and offer delicacies. But the sorrow of the fish would never decrease, rather, it would only increase. because the basic nature of the fish is to stay closer to the water. Similarly, the nature of the living entity is to stay closer to Sri Krishna. So similarly, the more the distance between the entity and Sri Krishna, the more the sorrow. The lesser the distance between Sri Krishna and an entity, the lesser the sorrow. So now we can answer one question that how can we develop closeness with Sri Krishna? How can we stay closer to Sri Krishna? Then the gopis again go on to answer. The gopis go on to say now, Oh Sri Krishna, to come closer to you, there are many ways. So there are 64 angas of bhakti. But the easiest and the best way to reach Sri Krishna, develop closeness with Krishna, is the divine pastimes of Sri Krishna. So the more you listen to the divine pastimes of Sri Krishna, more closely you get placed to Sri Krishna. So, O Lord, the nectar and ambrosia of your pastime is adequate to enlighten all the life of an entity who is leading a life full of suffering. So, O Sri Krishna, we would have been dead long before, but your divine pastime is enlightening our world. Then this is Shravan Mangalam. So only listening to your divine pastime is strong enough to enlighten the world of those who are suffering due to pain of separation and sorrows in this material world. This material world is not our ultimate destination. We are just travelers and passengers. So this world is just like a restaurant. Nothing is permanent and stable. Come what may, valuable objects you may use, but ultimately you need to leave, abandon it and move further. And how would our journey be auspicious? By stay closer to Sri Krishna. See, the destination for the entity in the material world is to reach Bhagvatam. And as of now, we are in human body. So 84 lakh stations, and we are now placed at humanly platform, and the destination is Golok Vrindavan. And hence, from here till Bhagavatam, how that journey we consider auspicious. You see, if we have to move from Mumbai to Delhi,
ऐसी कामना करते हैं, तो ऐसी प्रार्थना करते हैं भारत में। लेकिन मुंबई से दिल्ली की यात्रा मंगलमय कब मानी जाएगी? उसमें तीन।
So how would the journey between Mumbai to Delhi be considered auspicious? There are three things which need to be present. Only then the journey be considered auspicious. So one is that the train which is bound to Delhi must move to Delhi, reach Delhi. Secondly, that it must reach in time. And thirdly, the journey between Mumbai to Delhi must be free of all issues and problems and suffering.
जीवात्मा की यात्रा मंगलमय कब मानी जाएगी? एक तो इसी जीवन में,
and when
मरने के बाद हम
would
प्रेम भगवत धाम को प्राप्त करें। दूसरा,
the destination or the journey from this human life and reaching Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, be considered auspicious? That for sure we would be able to reach Golok Vrindavan, and also the journey be full of obstructions, and that we must reach well in time to Golok Vrindavan. So just in case we are desirous of that we must reach our destination well in time and without any obstruction, what we shall be doing or what shall be our strategy. So that is answered by gopis in the Gopi Geet in the second line on the screens before you.
इस प्रकार से भगवत कथा की असीम अपरिसीम महिमा है। गोपियों का गीत तो अमर है भक्तों। गाने वाले गाते रह गए, कहने वाले कहते रह गए, सुनने वाले सुनते रह गए।
So this is immense significance of Gopi Geet.
परिचय देने के लिए ठीक से इसका परिचय इस 5 दिनों में केवल 2 श्लोक का हमने केवल परिचय दिया कि भाई
So in the 5 days you could only introduce the 2 shlokas.
सो आप सभी भक्तों का भूरी भूरी धन्यवाद। मुझे कोई पूछ रहा था, खैर फिर कभी, लेकिन आप सब भक्त बड़े भाव से बड़ी श्रद्धा से इस कथा का श्रवण किए। आप सभी भक्तों को भूरी भूरी धन्यवाद। जैसे गोपियां कहती हैं श्रवण मंगलम।
So I thank each one of you, the devotees who have assembled here. So I wish all auspicious in the lives of each one of you, just as the gopis took refuge to Katha and kept themselves alive. Similarly, due to by way of mercy and blessings of Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj, we have all taken refuge to the Katha, and we all are staying alive in this Katha. And by way of this Katha, we must enhance our Gopi Bhav. And from the outwardly manifestation and exhibitionary manifestation, we must chant the holy name of the Lord by counting on rosary. So I go on to also express my immense gratitude that you all shell out time for the Katha, which keeps us motivated and also inspire us. I know your time is very, very precious. I am not a good orator. I am not a talented speaker.
क्योंकि आप सुन रहे हैं।
In my 21 generations, nobody has done this. I am just making an humble attempt. It is only because of your love that I get inspiration. I'm sure that there are many mistakes and limitations. This is the time of Kali Yuga, the Kali Yuga intellect and the Kali Yuga words and the tongue. So I request you to absorb only the meaningful things and ignore any weaknesses and problems or mistakes and errors that I might commit. So I extend thanks to each one of you, especially the host family, Bhavna Mataji from America, New York, and also Rasik Baiji, Ketan Prabhu, daughter-in-law, Priya Mataji, their kids Ravi and Kiara, and also the daughter of Rasik Bhai and Bhavna Ben, Dr. Gopi, son-in-law Mukesh Bhai, kids Arav and Aryan. And because she had this desire to keep the name of Aladdu Gopalji, so I extend my immense thanks to Bhavna Mataji. And because we developed understanding of the quality of Laddu Gopal, Shri Krishna, so we would keep the name to Gopalji. So let us have darshan of
हो तो जाएगा लेकिन ये पेंडिंग
Gopalji. And you see, this name ceremony is incomplete without partying and merrymaking.
हमने ये
So this party is due upon Rasik Bhai and Bhavna Mataji.
वाणी मधुर गुण का श्रवण किया
And because we all developed understanding, made an understanding on the Madhur Vani of Gopalji, so let us put the name. We shall call Gopalji as Madhur Gopal. All glories to Madhur Gopalji.
श्री मधुर
All glories to Madhur Gopal. All glories to Madhur Gopal.
सो बहुत सुंदर गोपाल जी हैं लेकिन मधुर है इसलिए श्री मधुर गोपाल श्री राधा मधुर गोपाल इस प्रकार से हम उनको पुकार सकते हैं और भगवान के
We shall call him by
निरंतर
Radha Madhur Gopal.
प्रसन्न हो तो धन्यवाद आप सभी भक्तों का और आप सब भक्तों के चरणों में गोपी भाव की भीख मांगते हुए भगवत प्रेम की भीख मांगते हुए
So I seek apology for any mistakes and errors that I have committed. So let us bring close to the 310th Katha. Hare Krishna, Radhe Shyam.
महापुराण की श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जगत गुरु शिल